Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube famous now, available in 2018. The album, Dad AF. Rock on, gold dust woman. You know, I always sing those lyrics, and I never sing any other lyrics from the song. Did she make you cry, make you break down, shatter your illusions of love? No, not really. Okay, so anyway, let's get into this video. I have spent, are you ready for this? The better part of today shopping for my new review channel, which I'm so excited about. It's called Peter Review Stuff. It's linked below. Go check it out. I'm putting up my very first video sometime next week. If you want to know what the first video is going to be, I told all about it last night on my vlog. I talked about all the kinds of stuff that I'm going to be reviewing over there. So go check out my vlog channel. I vlog every night for at least like 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. So it's like a mini documentary. But anyway, it's just me driving around in my car most nights. So yeah, I was like driving around and I was buying, I went to Walmart, I went to the Meijer, I went and did this, and I was like buying little gadgets in line at the checkout line at Walmart because I was like, okay, I've always wanted to buy these things and now I can buy them and I can try them, see? Buy them and try them. So that's my new channel, so go check it out. It is called Peter Reviews Stuff. All kinds of stuff. Foods, all kinds of stuff. Fast food. Anything that you can imagine, I'll be reviewing over there. Alright, now let's get into this video. Woo! Hot potatoes! So I've received several messages from people, several DMs, asking me to talk about this collab that Tati and James Charles did together. And they actually did two of them. One of them they did on his channel, one of them they did on her channel. I watched both of them. Sisters, I love them together. I love Tati. I know it's Tati, but I say Tati, she don't care. But I love, and I have been taking the Halo Kiwi now. It's almost going on like a week, I think. And yeah, I mean, my skin is just perfection. No, I'm gonna be taking it for 90 days. I'm gonna be doing a full review at the end of that on this channel, not on my review channel. So anyway, I went in last night and I watched both of these videos. I save like all the videos that I watch like for a certain day. Do you guys do that? Like I might go in and watch like all Shane's videos. Well, now it's series. He's coming out with a series, which I cannot wait, and I will be reviewing. I always do an after show after every one of Shane's videos that he does in a series. So I will be doing that. It was funny because I was talking about it like on here or on my vlog or something. I think it was the video that I did talking about the trailer. I made like a 12-minute video talking about Shane's 1 minute and 8-second video trailer. But anyway, I talked about it in there, and I said something about like his very first one was Graveyard Girl, and somebody was like, no, his very first series was Trisha Paytas, and I was like, oh my god, how could I ever forget? So yeah. But anyway, I always do an after show for the Shane stuff, but I save like all of my videos for like a certain day. Like I might watch all of this person's videos like one night, and I watch 3 or 4 of them in a row. Do you guys do that? So anyway, yeah, that's kind of how I do it. So last night I went in and I watched both of these videos that James and Tati did together, and they're hilarious. They really are. But the one that they did on James' channel is a Sephora sweep. Now let me just tell you, okay? So it's so funny because Tati goes in here and she's talking about the old, what do you call it? We used to call them quiz shows back in the day. Do you remember when we called them quiz shows? But they're game shows. And it was called Supermarket Sweep, and I loved it. And it was couples, and 2 couples would get together, and they would like, I think it was 2 couples, and they would like try to like help each other out and whatever, and then like they got to keep, I think, everything that they bought or something like that. But I used to watch it from time to time back in the day. My favorites, listen, my favorites, I love Sale of the Century. That was one of my favorites. And The Pyramid, I love The Pyramid, and I still watch Family Feud on a regular basis. I love Family Feud so much. I like sit there and I act like I'm playing it, and they say something and I go, you know, I just come on, steak! Valentine's Day! I like shout it out. I love Family Feud so much. So anyway, but yeah, my grandma back in the day, she loved The Price is Right. I've talked about this on my vlog a lot on my vlog. My grandma loved The Price is Right, and she would just sit there. She'd sit on her couch, and she'd be drinking her cup of coffee and smoking a cigarette, and they'd come out there and they'd show something, and she'd go, 39 cents. And I'd be like, Grandma, how do you know all this stuff? She's like, well, hell, I go to the grocery store almost every day. So anyway, yeah, that's me and quiz shows. So I was so happy, quiz shows, game shows. I was That's why, see, I watch the Game Show Network. I love it. Have you seen the commercials? The commercials for the Game Show Network, just like those people are like, I'm so happy because I watch the Game Show Network. Nothing goes wrong. I don't like Cash Cab, though. I don't know why. But nothing goes wrong in the Game Show Network, except for just there's a bunch of losers, because there's got to be winners and there's got to be losers in life. Well, you know. So anyway, I watched these videos last night, and I really liked them. And okay, so they go and they do this Sephora sweep, and they're gonna each do like a look, right? So they go around Sephora for 60 seconds and they like buy all this kind of stuff. Tati bought like everything in the world. It was like over $500. James, I think his was like $180 or $190, and he had like a little bag and she had like 2 bags. And so they come back and they're doing this, you know, and at first I was like, why is everybody asking me to watch this video? So they're doing this, like, they're each doing their looks from their things they bought from Sephora. If you haven't watched this video, go watch it. It is so well done. Like, the conversation they have, and, you know, Tati and James are 2 people that I really respect in the beauty industry anyway. And they, like, the conversation they have, I just think is so well done. Or so well had, or whatever. So anyway, they go in there, and James is like, I think we should have a conversation about the beauty industry, and he talks about all this kind of other stuff that he, you know, he was gonna do, and now he's not doing it, so he's gonna have this conversation with her. And they go in there, and they kind of like start talking about Marlene Estelle and Makeup Geek, and how she came out with this number of $60,000, and, you know, what does that number really mean? And they talk about the whole kind of like business of the makeup industry and beauty influencers. Some of the things that they said in there were very interesting to me, you know? And like, James was kind of like, just, here's the facts, here's the facts, here's the facts. And he was like, you know, listen, I know that you guys love us, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, okay? I don't have no notes, nothing, but he's like paraphrasing, I'm just paraphrasing this. He's like, I know you guys love us, watch who you want to watch, you know, watch us if you love us, but this is also a business. Like, it really is. And it costs a lot of money to do this and do that. And Tati goes in there and she talks about how she doesn't have a management company, and, you know, she doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. So it's just her, you know, dealing with all of this kind of stuff. And they talked about sponsored videos, and they both talked about how they don't do a lot of sponsored videos, which I thought was an interesting discussion. And James, like, very strongly stated that he doesn't understand why it's so difficult to disclose, you know what I mean? And Tati was going in and she was saying, like, what she doesn't understand is when she knows, like, this is a sponsored video because she's heard about it. I was assuming she was saying because I heard about this, you know, through the grapevine or whatever, or people reached out to her, that she'll see somebody else do it, but they won't disclose it. And she's like, do they think we don't all know that this is, like, you know? So anyway, so they talked about that, and then they go in there and they talk about this price point. Okay, oh my Lord, this price point is $60,000. Marlene Estelle said $60,000, and she said something about that as like a price point in her video. She's come out later, and she's kind of just said that that was like an estimate, and that, you know, there's higher, there's lower, all that kind of stuff. And Marlene's last video that she did, well, the one I talked about, where she goes in there and she addresses like what she's gonna do moving forward. And she talks in there about like how she picks out PR people, and that she has like 200 people, I think is what she said, on her, like, that she sends PR to. And it really isn't about, for her, like, who's the biggest influencer in the world. It's about the reach. And James talks about this in the video. He was like, you know, you're probably gonna get, and if you watch my video back then, like when all this came out, this is what I said. You know, it would be smarter to break down that price point and send it to like 10 people that have 6,000 followers if they're getting like 90%. I said this in my video back then, and he said the same thing, and I was like, okay, so it's true, you know? That like it would be smarter to send it to people that were getting like a 94% interaction, or he said 94% later, that's a different statistic, but like 90% or 80% interaction on like their Instagram or whatever, versus somebody that has like 1 million subscribers, but they're not getting any interaction at all. So you're wasting your money, you're not getting your money back. And they go in there and they talk about how this is definitely an industry, the beauty, you know, business is a billion-dollar industry and all this kind of stuff. So they go into this whole price point of $60,000. Now, I will say, because I know other people are going to say it, they never said what they accept or what they don't accept for a mention or an entire sponsored video. They never said that, right? Which I think was really smart that they didn't, but they really never denied the $60,000 point, which I also think was very smart. So James goes into this thing. Now listen, I think by now we know James Charles could have done a lot of things with his life, okay? James Charles could have been the makeup guru of the world, which he is. James Charles, oh, I want to say this one thing, okay? there was this part at the beginning, I don't know where it was, maybe it was at the end, I think it was at the end of the video, where she's talking about how she like flew him out there, I think it was to do her makeup for her wedding or something like that, and like he was like just starting off and he didn't have any money for pants, and it was just such an endearing story between the two of them. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. And so anyway, they go in here and they're talking about this 60,000 point, and then he breaks it all down. Okay, let me just tell you, he flat out says that Marlene Estelle was irresponsible for putting that number out there. He goes, no, it was irresponsible. And I was like, okay, like I like that he's standing his ground on this. And he's like, because there's so much more that goes into it than that, you know? That there's so much more to the backstory than people ever really will ever understand. So he goes in there and he like breaks it down, and he's like, okay, in traditional advertising, and he starts doing this, and I'm like, okay, let me get my readers on. Let me get my pad of paper out here. Gotta take my notes. Okay. $500,000 divided by, I'm like, oh my God, I can't, I got my glasses on and I still can't do math. I mean, I was so lost by all of that, right? But he breaks it down in layman's terms, and it's so genius how he breaks it down. Like, he really breaks it down. And he goes in there and he talks about how, like, okay, when you're going to hire somebody to do like an advertisement on TV. And recently I had said in a video that a lot of these like sponsored videos are not a whole lot different than advertisements we see on TV and celebrities and things like that. And many people were like, no, that's not true, because these are celebrities. We know they're doing these advertisements. And I don't know, like once I started getting different comments about it, I started thinking kind of differently about it. But I know that for James, like one of his issues he's talked about, you know, he's talked about it on social media, he's talked about it in other places and videos, is this comparison between like influencers and like, you know, brand name celebrities, if that makes sense. So he goes in there and he talks about this traditional like advertising, and that you have to hire, you know, a studio space, you have to hire the people to do it, and you have to hire this, and you have to hire that, and whatever. And then he breaks it all down, and he says like at the end of it, it comes up to like, you know, $500,000. Well, if this is your price point and you want to make this much money off of sales, blah, 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 and he breaks it down and he's like, your return is really only like 50%. Well, this is what I thought was interesting about it. So I kind of like sat down, I really did like jot some notes down. I was kind of like going through it, and I was like, okay, what do you think an actor, like, let's take the makeup thing out of it for a second. And like I used Matthew McConaughey in my last video. I said Cadillac. I cannot tell you how many comments I got that people were like, Lincoln, 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 okay? So let's take that $500,000 price point that James throws out. When you put together filming, editing, okay, all this, and we're not talking cars, we're talking makeup. Well, let's just use this for example, right? Or let's take if it's somebody, you know, like, I don't know, a major makeup brand, and they're endorsing like their new cover girl or something like that, right? Do you think these people aren't getting paid probably $250,000 to $500,000 alone just to be in these advertisements? And I totally understand, okay, that they are major celebrities, but when you talk about it from a money point of view, like James and Tati were talking about, the return as far as the business of advertising, it really, really does make sense. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, well, on those kind of advertisements, okay, not just an advertisement you're going to see on TV, you know, for like Wet n Wild lipstick or something like that, but like a major advertisement, I don't even believe $500,000 is a fair number. I really, really don't. I think you're probably talking $1 million to $3 million to put a commercial together like that. Really, I really do. When you talk about like being out somewhere, you know, picking a location, flying everybody there, you know, the crew, on and on and on, editing, putting it all together, and then on top of it, ad placement on television or magazines, no. I think that number is so lowballed, and I think that like James was smart to lowball it, but I think he's even proving his point more, because I think it would be even really, really higher. So he goes in and he says that, and he's like, okay, their return, if you look at it that way, would be 50%. So let's go back to this number of $60,000, right? Take $500,000, mark it down, he goes in this thing, and he goes, your return on an influencer that already has a platform to show it on, already has people that trust them, so they're probably going to go out and buy it, right? Because if you're just watching a TV show, just because if you're watching The Walking Dead and Wet n Wild lipstick comes on, it doesn't necessarily mean that you trust that advertisement that you're going to buy it. But a lot of these influencers have trusted fans that are going to follow them, and they're going to go buy these products, right? So it's smart, and the return rate is 94%. So $60,000 for 94%, or $500,000 for 50% return. Think about that. And then if you like do the math on that, like you don't even know what these influencers are really bringing in for these makeup companies and stuff. So then it puts it all like in this whole other different world. I thought the video was so interesting. I thought it was so well done. I don't know, like, I just continue to like earn more and more respect for James. Like, he is really, like, I was sitting there watching this, I thought, he should have gone into finance. Like, he really should have, you know? He is so smart when it comes to this stuff. And I do think in the next couple years that we will see James, like, start, not just have collabs with makeup companies and stuff like that, you know, not just all that. I think that we will really, really see him probably in the next 3 to 5 years start his own makeup line, and I think it will be one of the leading makeup lines that we've ever seen. Like, I really think he's very, very smart when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, you know, I was just really interested in seeing how the breakdown of all the money. What did you guys say? Did you think it was fair? I mean, there's still people out there that are like, $60,000 is way too much money to be paying an influencer for one video. And, you know, maybe it is. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess it's like a personal thing that you kind of have to decide. But like, what then is the appropriate number? 5,000, 10,000, depending on the number of their reach, things like that. You know, because I'm sure that somebody that has 5 million subscribers is getting paid a different price point than somebody that has 500 or 5 million subscribers is getting paid something different than somebody that has 500,000 subscribers, which would be fair. I mean, that would be fair in the economic world, right? So it makes you wonder at the end, like, really, what are the price points on this? But does it really matter? Do we really care? There's been so much conversation about sponsored videos and price points of sponsored videos and all this kind of stuff. And it makes you just like wonder, what is like the real number that's going on behind there? Because like Tati said she had done 6 sponsored videos in her last 120 videos. And he was like, I don't do that many sponsored videos either. But think about somebody that's doing a lot of sponsored videos that has a lot of subscribers. It makes you wonder then, like, how much they are like really, really getting paid when you go to it, you know? Because I'm sure a lot of these companies just look at it and think, well, I'll pay you set amount of money because you have this kind of draw, but they're not really looking past a whole lot of that. Did you guys watch this video? What did you think? Did you think it was a good discussion? I thought it was a very, like, intellectual, educated conversation about the beauty industry. I'd actually like to see them talk more about it. I thought it was intriguing to me. I'd like to hear a little bit more about what goes on and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to go follow my new review channel. Oh my God, Peter Reviews stuff. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.